Here's the truth that most men don't want to hear. A woman doesn't think about you non-stop because of how much money you spend on her, how many good morning texts you send, or how often you remind her of your feelings. What keeps a woman's mind running back to you is how you make her feel when you're not around. That might sound a little uncomfortable to hear, but it's the reality. Men often believe that consistency means constant access, always being available, always showing up, always reminding her you're there. But when you give a woman everything up front, you remove the very thing that makes her think about you: curiosity, emotional impact, and a little bit of space to miss you. And here's where so many guys get it wrong. You think effort equals attraction. You think if you just do more, she'll value you more. But what actually makes her replay your name in her head isn't effort. It's the imprint you leave behind. A look, a certain energy, the way you carry yourself, or the way you made her laugh when she wasn't expecting it. Those are the things that stay with her. See, women aren't sitting around thinking about the man who gives them everything too easily. They think about the man who stands out, the one who's not afraid to be himself, the one who has his own life, the one who doesn't hand over all his attention like it's free. That's the man who lingers in her thoughts, sometimes even when she doesn't want him to. So, if you've ever wondered, what actually makes a woman think about me when I'm not around? This is the conversation you need to hear. Welcome to the channel. This is where we strip away the nonsense advice and get to the truth about how women really think and what actually works in modern dating. 1. Mystery makes her mind run wild. Let me tell you something most men don't realize. A woman can't stop thinking about a man who doesn't reveal everything all at once. The second you hand over your whole story, your thoughts, your every move, you've already taken away the space for her imagination. And here's the truth. It's a woman's imagination that keeps you alive in her head long after you've left the room. Think about it. When a man is mysterious, he doesn't have to do much. He doesn't overshare. He doesn't feel the need to explain himself all the time. He carries himself with a quiet confidence that leaves questions unanswered. And trust me, unanswered questions are exactly what keep a woman awake at night. She'll replay conversations, analyze your tone, and wonder what you really meant. She'll ask herself, why didn't he tell me more? What's his story? Who is he when I'm not around? That mental loop is what makes you unforgettable. Now let me give you a scene from a woman's perspective. Imagine you're on a date. The conversation is flowing, but instead of pouring out your whole life story, you give just enough. Maybe she asks about your past relationships, and instead of going into detail, you smile and say, "That's a long story for another time." You move the conversation forward without making it awkward. You've just planted a seed in her mind. She'll spend the rest of the night, and probably the next day, wondering what that story is. That's how you stay in her head. The key here is balance. Don't mistake mystery for being cold or closed off. Mystery isn't about hiding who you are. It's about controlling what you reveal and when you reveal it. If you give a woman everything up front, she has no reason to chase, no reason to wonder, and no reason to replay your presence in her mind. But if you leave just enough unanswered, her thoughts will naturally circle back to you. Men often think women want every detail right away. But the truth is, what excites us most is the unknown. We want to uncover you piece by piece, like a story we can't put down. That's what makes a woman think about you non-stop. The fact that she doesn't quite have you figured out. And when she doesn't have you figured out, she'll keep coming back for more. 2. Confidence without needing her. Here's something most men miss. Women don't think about the guy who's always trying to prove himself to them. They don't replay the moments with the man who needs their approval to feel good. No. The man who sticks in her mind is the one who already feels solid in himself, with or without her validation. Let me break it down for you as a woman. When I meet a man who radiates confidence without arrogance, it instantly shifts the way I see him. He's not desperate for my attention. He's not pushing too hard to impress me. Instead, he gives off the energy of someone who already knows his value. That is magnetic. That is what lingers in a woman's thoughts long after the date, the conversation, or even just a quick interaction. Confidence without needing her is about how you move through the world. It's in your body language, the way you walk into a room, the way you hold eye contact without flinching, the way you don't fidget or shrink when things get quiet. It's in the way you make decisions without second-guessing yourself or waiting for her approval. That kind of energy doesn't scream for attention. It draws it naturally. Women are constantly around men who try too hard. Men who brag, who show off, who bend over backwards just to earn a little smile. And honestly, that's forgettable. But when she meets a man who doesn't seem fazed by whether she's impressed or not, it makes her stop and wonder, why doesn't he need my validation? Why does he seem so comfortable in himself? That question alone plants you in her head. You see, attraction isn't about chasing. It's about creating a dynamic where she feels pulled toward you without you pushing. Confidence is the foundation of that pull. Not fake confidence, not arrogance, but the kind of inner strength that says, I know who I am. I like who I am. And if you're in my life, that's great. But if not, I'll still be good. When a woman feels that, it doesn't just make her notice you in the moment. It makes her think about you long after. Because in her mind, she knows men like that are rare. And rarity always stays on a woman's mind. 3. Emotional impact. That lingers. If you want to know what really makes a woman think about you non-stop, it's not just how you look, or how funny you are, or even how much money you have. Those things fade. What doesn't fade is how you make her feel. And I don't mean temporary excitement. I'm talking about the emotional imprint you leave behind. Here's the truth most men don't realize. Women replay emotions more than they replay events. If a conversation with you leaves her feeling light, seen, or even a little challenged, she'll carry that with her long after you're gone. It's the emotional spark that keeps her scrolling back through your texts, replaying your words, and smiling to herself out of nowhere. When a man connects with a woman on that emotional level, he doesn't have to do much else. It's not about being over-the-top romantic or pouring out your soul on the first date. It's about tuning into the moment and actually being present with her. Listen to what she's saying. Respond in a way that shows you get her. Add just enough depth to make her feel like you see something in her that others might miss. That's what creates impact. Another piece of this is contrast. Most guys keep it safe. Small talk, predictable compliments, surface-level jokes. That's fine, but it's also forgettable. The man who lingers in her thoughts is the one who mixes lightheartedness with depth. He makes her laugh, but he also drops a comment that makes her pause and think. He can tease her, then switch gears and genuinely listen when she opens up. That back and forth is powerful because it triggers different emotions, and emotions are addictive. Don't underestimate subtle things either. A strong moment of silence, eye contact that lingers just a little longer than usual, or a comment that hints at something deeper about her. Those are the details that carve themselves into her memory. It's not always about grand gestures. It's about the little sparks you create that she can't quite shake off. At the end of the day, it's this simple. A woman won't keep thinking about the man who blended in, but she will keep thinking about the man who made her feel something different. And if she feels something she hasn't felt in a long time, or something she's never felt before, you've just rented permanent space in her mind. 4. Confidence without trying. Too hard. Confidence is one of those things every guy knows women find attractive. But here's the part most men miss. It's not about being loud, cocky, or showing off. In fact, the harder you try to prove you're confident, the more it comes across as insecurity. What actually makes a woman think about you non-stop is the quiet, natural confidence that shows in the way you carry yourself without needing her validation. Women pick up on energy more than anything. If you walk into a room and you're comfortable in your own skin, she feels it. If you speak in a calm, steady tone instead of rushing your words, she notices. If you don't feel the need to constantly fill silence, she sees that as control. These small things communicate that you don't need her approval to feel good about yourself. And ironically, that's exactly what makes her start craving it. Here's where many men get it wrong. They think confidence means always having the perfect response, being the alpha in every situation, or flexing status and material things. But those are just layers men use to cover up doubt. Real confidence is when you can sit across from a woman and let her see you exactly as you are, flaws and all, and not flinch. That kind of self-assuredness sticks with her because it's rare. Think about it. Most men bend over backwards to impress women. They overinvest, they overexplain, they try too hard to be liked. And what happens? Women forget them. But the man who doesn't overextend himself, who can joke about his own imperfections, who can let her talk without rushing to please her, that's the man who leaves her unsettled in the best way possible. She goes home and thinks, why didn't he seem fazed? Why didn't he need my approval? Why did I feel like I wanted his attention more than he wanted mine? That subtle imbalance creates a pull. She starts wondering about you. She starts chasing the validation you didn't freely hand out. And before she knows it, she's replaying the interaction again and again, trying to figure you out. So remember this. Confidence isn't what you show. It's what you don't feel the need to show. It's in your body language, your patience, your ability to sit in your own frame without being shaken. That's the kind of confidence that lingers in a woman's mind long after you've left. 5. The power of mystery and scarcity. If there's one thing that drives a woman crazy in her thoughts, it's when she can't fully figure you out. Mystery makes her curious. Scarcity makes her crave you. And when you combine those two, you become the man she can't stop thinking about. Here's how it actually plays out. Imagine a woman meets a man who doesn't immediately reveal everything about himself. He shares just enough to be engaging, but leaves some parts of his life unsaid. He doesn't feel the need to constantly post his every move on social media. He doesn't answer every text the second it comes in. He gives her space to wonder. Instead of handing her all the answers, he creates a sense of curiosity that keeps her mind busy. She goes home and starts asking herself questions. What's he doing? Who is he with? Why isn't he chasing me like every other guy? That wondering is what makes her think about him non-stop. The scarcity part matters just as much. If you're always available, always reachable, and always saying yes, she never gets the chance to miss you. But when your time and attention are valuable, when she has to wait a little, when she realizes you're not giving every woman that same access, suddenly your presence becomes special, and people always value what feels rare. Here's the thing. Men who are too available think they're showing loyalty or interest, but what they're actually showing is that they have nothing else going on. That kills attraction. But the man who has his own life, who sometimes makes her wait, who doesn't reveal everything at once, that's the man she can't stop thinking about. Not because he's playing games, but because he naturally holds his value. Mystery and scarcity aren't about manipulation. They're about balance. They remind her that you're not just another guy desperate for attention. You're a man with purpose, with standards, with a life that doesn't revolve around her. That's the man she'll lie awake thinking about, even when she doesn't want to. 6. Absence that fuels desire. One of the most overlooked truths about attraction is this: a woman often thinks about you more when you're not there than when you are. That might sound strange, but it's how the mind works. When you're always around, always available, always showing up the moment she calls, you become part of the background. But when there's space, when she doesn't see you, when she doesn't hear from you right away, that's when her thoughts start to wander towards you. Absence creates a vacuum, and the mind hates a vacuum. When you're not filling her attention with constant presence, her imagination takes over. She starts asking questions. What's he doing right now? Why hasn't he called? Who is he with? Those unanswered questions are powerful because they create emotional tension, and tension is what keeps her thinking about you. Now, some men hear this and think the answer is to ghost or disappear completely. But that's not what I mean. It's not about vanishing or ignoring her. It's about balance. When you create just the right amount of distance, you give her space to miss you. When you're not rushing to reply within seconds, she notices. When you're not always free to hang out at the drop of a hat, she starts to value the time she does get with you more. This is why men who live full lives are so attractive. A man with purpose, hobbies, and goals doesn't need to be glued to his phone. His absence doesn't feel like a game. It feels natural, and that natural distance makes her crave his presence even more. Think about it like this. Too much sugar ruins the taste, but just enough makes you want more. The same is true with your presence. Overexpose yourself, and she gets numb to you. Give her the right balance of closeness and absence, and you become unforgettable. Absence fuels desire because it forces her to lean into her imagination. And once her imagination starts running with thoughts of you, it's almost impossible to stop. 7. Stop overinvesting and making it too easy. Here's where I need to be honest with you, and some men won't like hearing this. One of the biggest reasons a woman doesn't think about you is because you've made yourself too easy. You've overinvested, given too much too soon, and handed over all your energy before she's even earned it. And when something feels too easy, it doesn't stick in a woman's mind. Think about it. If every time she texts, you drop everything to reply instantly, she learns you have nothing else going on. If every time she hints at wanting something, you deliver it without hesitation, she starts to expect it. If you're the one always calling, always planning, always chasing, you've killed the very tension that makes her wonder about you. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Women don't obsess over men who hand themselves over on a silver platter. They obsess over the men they feel they have to work for a little. Not in a manipulative way, but in a way that shows your time and attention actually have value. So here's your wake-up call. Stop trying to buy her interest with effort. Stop bending over backwards to prove you're the good guy. Stop making yourself so predictable that she knows exactly when and how you'll show up. Instead, hold your ground. Invest only when she's showing you she's worth it. Match her energy, don't exceed it. Make her earn your consistency. I know this might sting, but it's the truth. If you don't value yourself, she won't either. And valuing yourself means you don't overgive in the hope of being remembered. You let her experience what it feels like when you pull back. You let her feel the absence, the curiosity, the gap. That's what makes her think about you. If you want to stick in her mind, stop flooding her with attention. Start creating space for her to crave it. Here's the truth most men avoid. The harder you try to stay on a woman's mind, the quicker she forgets you. But the man who understands balance, who knows when to lean in and when to pull back, who carries quiet confidence, who leaves emotional fingerprints instead of constant noise, that's the man she can't stop thinking about. Women don't lose sleep over men who were too available, too predictable, or too eager. They lose sleep over the man who left just enough mystery just enough space, and just enough impact that their minds keep circling back. And here's the controversial part. You don't need to be perfect, rich, or the best-looking guy in the room. What matters is the energy you project and the restraint